Hi, I'm Carolyn Vanslow. I own Back to Basics Exercise Therapy, and I want to welcome you to my YouTube channel. I hear a lot today about people feeling really tight in the hips, especially after hours of sitting, whether you're working, driving, or maybe just watching movies. And a lot of people complain of single-sided hip pain. Today, I'm going to give you a little routine to try out and see if we can get you some relief from that. When your hips are tight, what happens is then your low back has to do a lot of work because the pelvis is not able to move. And so what happens is the low back starts taking over, and so does the hamstrings. So what we want to do today is we want to get more range of motion in those hips so we don't use our back when we should be using our hips. And the way we get that range of motion is to loosen up that pelvic girdle. Our hips are very much like a trailer hitch. If you've ever pulled a trailer or seen one, you have a ball and socket that rotates around. And that's exactly what happens here. So this was designed to rotate, but if it gets stuck in a fixed position over a length of time, what happens is it begins to stay stuck and not move with as much fluidity as it's capable of moving. Thus, we start feeling maybe a tight hip, little low back pain, and maybe even we have some neck and shoulder pain too. Today's routine is meant to do 3 times. I'm going to run through the first one, giving you the exercises, the amount of exercises that we do, or the times that we allow for it. And then you can go ahead and do it 3 different times. You can use the video to follow along. So you can do the first set, then turn the video back on and do the second and third. Don't force anything. If your body doesn't want to do it, then just let it go to where it can go, because eventually it will re-educate itself and be able to move. We don't want to use our hands for pushing or trying to create a stretch. The entire stretching is done on our own with the use of our own muscles, not hands pushing things around. So first we're going to start on the floor. And we're going to do something called knee drops. I like to spread my feet pretty far apart. So when I do this, I use a mat as a baseline, but my feet are probably not quite a yard apart. We don't want them close together for this one. And you're going to put your hands about 45 degrees outside of your body, and you're going to look straight up at the ceiling. And we're just going to rotate back and forth, just like this. And notice, where do you feel tight? Is one side tighter than the other? When you do this exercise, don't push the tight side as hard as the loose side. Back off a little bit with the loose side and just kind of let it go along with what the tight side is doing until the tight side starts to release a little bit. You may find by the end of these 30, that's 15 per side, total of 30, that the two might be working very much together. So just go back and forth and notice where you're feeling things. Might be feeling a little bit in the hip flexors, sides of the legs, the inner thigh, just about anywhere. We're all different, so we're all going to have a little bit different experience. Another thing is you want to keep those feet closer to your bum. And you'll notice I pulled mine back twice because my feet want to walk towards the end of the mat. And I don't want it to do that. So I have to pull them back. And we're just going to go nice and slow. And nice, relaxed movement. I always try to hear an ocean in my head with waves coming in and going back out. And that's the rhythm I like to keep. Your hands should be about 45 degrees from your body, palms facing the ceiling, and you'd like to have the entire back of the hand touching the floor with the fingers spread apart. Eyes should be directly ahead, looking at the ceiling. You don't want to turn your head while you're doing this because it will affect what's happening to the kinetic chain. And we want everything to come into balance. And if one side is acting different than the other, then we're not going to get balance. So we want to have everything balanced, meaning those muscles surrounding those joints. Just back and forth. You might be noticing by now, maybe that tight side is feeling a little looser. And if it's not, that doesn't mean anything is wrong. It might be feeling looser by the time you do the third set. Because remember, we're going to run through this whole thing 3 times. You can always do a little bit of deep breathing. That will give you a little more sense of relaxation. And just being kind to your body and allowing it to unwind and re-educate to where we used to be before life happened. Very good. So we should be hitting close to 30 now. Go back and forth. Very good. Excellent. Now we're going to bring our feet closer together. We don't want them way out here. We want them pretty close to our bum, about how you see mine, facing straight ahead. If you're someone that turns your feet out, you might want to make sure that they are facing straight ahead. Or if you tend to turn your foot in, you might want to take a peek. And sure enough, I was turning one in. So I've got it corrected now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put one knee over the other. We're going to cross our knee like a man. And we're going to place our ankle right underneath that kneecap. And then we're going to push that knee away towards the wall. Before you get too locked in, make sure your hips are straight. Now mine were rotated and this side was down. Now I'm pushing with the knee. And as I begin to loosen up, I will ask my hip for more and more range of motion without causing pain. We just want to get those muscles to stretch. You may be feeling the work down here in your bum a little bit. Could be feeling it on the outside of the leg, the inside. You might even feel some stuff here going on in the knee. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong. It just means you're tight. If you feel like this is the wrong exercise and it's not right for you, then stop doing it. But this really helps with hip disparity, especially if we've been sitting for long hours and maybe our hips aren't really level, they're not balanced. This is a good starting point. Pushing the knee away, and as my muscles release more, I push more away from me so I can get a better range of motion. Remember, we're dealing with that ball and socket joint. We want to get as much range of motion out of it as we can. Okay, let's change sides. Now we were there for 1 minute. Now we'll do the second side. And go ahead and place that ankle right underneath that kneecap and push the knee away. Check, make sure, and sure enough, I was rotating. So there, now I'm straight. My hips are straight. And this is my tighter side, so it may take it a minute before it actually begins to loosen up. I've done this enough times to know that it will get looser. It's just going to take a little bit more time. So push that knee away. And as you loosen up, push it away some more, but you don't want to push yourself into pain. You just want to get a better range of motion. And you'll feel the work probably in the bum, but it's going to be very deep with this. You may feel it the inner thigh, outside of the leg. You might even feel something around the knees. when we're tight here, it just almost like it spreads, it has feelers. It's amazing. And as you release, start to push some more. Almost done with our minute. And there it goes. Now I can really feel it moving. And we are done. You can bring those legs down. Now what we're going to do is we are going to open our legs up and let our knees drop open. There we go. And now we're going to bring them together. Open and close. Let them drop open. And as they drop open, you'll feel your back come up off the floor. Don't try to hold it on the floor. Don't try to contract your tummy. There's no reason to fire that core right now. We are not doing any core work. What we're trying to do is get our hips to move a little bit easier and increase range of motion. So just go back and forth. Now, if you're tight on the inner thigh or weak, usually those two are synonymous, tight equals weak, vice versa. You may get a little bit achy as we continue to do this. And that's okay. If you need to stop for a minute, then you stop. Just go back and forth. Open and close. If you're feeling when you get down here like this and it just feels a little bit sketchy and you just don't feel like you want to release it all the way, listen to your body. Just let it go. Nice and easy. And release it when you're ready and when you feel safe. Open. And you'll notice when I hit the bottom, when I open my legs, for just under a second, I will let it relax for a minute and hang out down there like this. And I relax and then I bring it back together. So when I'm opening and I'm down at the bottom, I can just feel it. I can even feel my back come up off the floor because the hip flexors are stretching more. Then I just keep going. So I feel like I'm getting somewhere when I do this. When I first started doing this a minute ago, it was a lot tighter on that groin area right here. And you'll notice I keep bringing my feet back up because they keep trying to walk down. Just open, relax, and close. Open and close. And if you're going to do this tape, just follow along. I'm not one that counts very much, like reps. I usually can tell when I feel the body change or see the body change. So just follow along. And there we go. Almost done. Open. Now, hold in that position long enough to see, are the knees even or is one higher than the other? If it is, maybe you're just a little bit tighter on that side, but maybe you won't be by the third round. All righty. Now, let's go ahead and stand up. We're going to place our heels against the wall. And you want to make sure that your feet are straight ahead. Now, just for an FYI, I'll put my feet here because you can see them better. A lot of times I'll tell someone, oh, okay, I want you to put your feet straight ahead. And then I'll see something like this. And you can see my left foot is turned out. But to that person, it feels straight ahead because they're used to it being turned out. And a lot of times when you correct it, like I'll find a couple of degrees and ask them to switch it so it's straight. You might even feel like you're a little pigeon-toed because you're used to turning them out. Okay, so we want them straight ahead because that's what's going to create balance. So we're going to go ahead and straighten our feet, put our heels against the wall. If you're one of those lucky people that's built really well back here, you may have a hard time getting up against that wall. Don't worry about that. Just get your glutes against the wall, get your shoulders against the wall the best you can. If you can put your head on the wall without lifting your chin up like this, that's great. If not, just straight ahead is fine. Don't worry about it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to keep our elbows extended. We don't want our elbows to bend when we're doing these next exercises. If the elbow is bending, that means the shoulder is getting out of work. And we want the shoulder to work because the shoulders and hips work together. So we're going to roll forward 10 times. And you're going to look straight ahead. You don't want to look down. You don't want to look over here. You want to look straight ahead. And you'll see I'm rolling forward. The inside of my hands, the palms are facing the outside of my legs. Very good. And when you hit 10, then you're going to go backwards, 10 backwards. And you might hear a little, what some of my clients call snap, crackle, and pop. And what that is it's probably tissue. A lot of times when we sit in a fixed position for hours at a time, our body's very smart. It wants to keep us upright, so it'll lay tissue down. You've ever had a massage and they go after those trigger points, that's exactly what you're probably hearing. So we want to just work, and you will find over time that that noise will settle down. All righty. And of course, we want to stay out of pain. Now what we're going to do is pull our shoulder blades together, and we're going to raise our shoulders up and down. These are called shoulder shrugs. You see how I'm just going up and down, but I'm holding my shoulder blades together. That is going to change the dynamic. Keeping those shoulder blades held together and raising up and down. And try not to roll. A lot of people, when they follow with this exercise after shoulder rolls, they tend to want to roll like that. Don't. You're just going to pull the blades and raise up and down. Now, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to pull our shoulder blades together and release. Down, together, and release. Pull them down and together, release. Pull those shoulder blades together. We have muscles in there that are probably very stretched out from sitting in a rounded position. And what we want to do is strengthen them, because the shoulders are married to the hips. So if the hips are tight, I can guarantee the shoulders are too. And just do 10 of those. Just like that. Very good. Now, when you do some of the work against the wall, you may feel a little bit of low back work going on. Unless you're having pain, I wouldn't get too worried about it. It's just the low back is responding to what we're doing up above. What you're going to do is repeat this entire series 2 to 3 times, and then walk around and see how you feel. Do it every day, and you're going to make a change. I want to thank you for stopping by my YouTube channel. Please like, share, and subscribe, and watch for new videos that I'll be turning out once a week. Little lessons on things we can do to improve our posture. I'm a postural alignment specialist, and we treat posture because we know that if we correct the posture, we're going to reduce pain, because pain comes from faulty movements. So by creating balance within the body, the pain is going to go away. Also, if you play sports or you work out in a gym, you're going to notice your performance is going to change, and it's going to change for the better. So thank you very much for coming by my YouTube site, and I welcome you to even check out my website. If you really feel that you want to take this another step forward, then you can always contact me on my website for a free postural assessment. I can do it in person or on Zoom. Thank you very much, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Bye, and thank you.